This is lesson 32, course 2, the metric system. All of this stuff that is on your screen needs to be copied into your notes because we will reference them from time to time during this lesson. We're going to talk about units of length, units of capacity, and units of mass or weight, and then as well as temperature. So when we look at the units of length, 10 millimeters, which the abbreviation for millimeters is mm, is equal to 1 centimeter, and its abbreviation is cm. 1,000 millimeters is equal to 1 meter. 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter. And 1,000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. And all of these will be conversions that we will use in this lesson. We then can talk about units of capacity. And the major one that we need to kind of memorize, focus on, is 1,000 milliliters is equal to 1 liter. And then units of mass or weight, we always calculate that in grams. So 1,000 grams, or G, is equal to 1 kilogram, which is kg. We have 1,000 milligrams is equal to 1 gram. And then for temperature, 100 degrees Celsius, maybe, 100 degrees Celsius is 224 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's at which the point water boils. And then we have 0 degrees Celsius is equal to 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's when water freezes. And those are the two main ones that we want to talk about. But those are also a couple more conversions if you would like to pause the video and write those down. So what we're going to be doing is converting from one unit of measure to another. And we're going to use the conversion staircase. And the prefixes that are used for metric measures are directly related to the numbers that they represent. So, kilo means 1,000, hecto means 100, deca with a K means 10. Then we have our unit of measure. Then we have deca with a C, deci, like decimal, decagram, things like that. Centi and milli. And no matter which prefix we use, they can go on either meter, liter, or gram, depending on what we're talking about. And if we're going to convert from a smaller, like centimeter or millimeter, up to a bigger unit, like a meter or a kilometer, we're going to divide. And we always divide by units of 10. So each step is a unit of 10. And when you convert from a larger unit to a smaller unit, you will then multiply. So each time you go down a step, you're going to multiply by 10. Or each time that you go up the staircase, you're going to divide by 10. We always use 10, and then we just determine by how many steps that we have to go. That would determine how many times we're going to multiply or divide. So if we look at 70 centimeters, so 70 centimeters is over here on this step, and I want to go to meters, so I'm going to go bigger. So I'm converting from a smaller unit to a larger unit. I'm going to divide. So I'm going to take 70 and divide it by 10. But I need to see how many steps I'm going to go. So I'm going to go from centi to meter. So I'm going to go up one step to deci and up another one to meter. So I'm going to go up 2 steps, so I have to divide by 10 twice. So if I have 70 divided by 10, that's going to give me 7. And then I have to do 7 divided by 10, and that's going to give me 0.7. So I'm going to have 0.7 meters. And that's how we would leave that. That's how we would write that conversion. So if we see how I did that, Each time I'm dividing by 10 or I'm multiplying by 10, what I'm really doing is moving my decimal place however many times I go up a stair or down a stair. So here I went left 2 spots, and really I have 70 if I move the decimal place to the left 2 spots. That gives me my new decimal. So that's just a helpful hint, to use, but what we are really doing is multiplying or dividing by 10. So let's look at 0.05 kilometers, which is clear up here on the top. And I'm going to go all the way to millimeters. I need to see how many steps I'm going to do. So I'm going to go from kilo to hecto, from hecto to deca, to meter, to decimeter, to centimeter, to millimeter. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. I went 6 steps. So I have to divide by 10. Am I going to divide? No, because I'm going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, so I multiply. So I'm going to multiply this by 10, and that's going to give me 0.5. Then I'm going to multiply that by 10. That's going to give me 5, and so on and so on. But like I showed you before, we can just move our decimal place. So if I have 0.05, I'm going to move my decimal places 6 places to the right. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's where my new decimal point's going to go. And each time I moved it, I had to add a 0. So I'm going to have 4 zeros and a 5, and then I'm going to put my decimal place. So I'm going to have 50,000 millimeters. And that's how we're going to convert that. So we've used centimeters to meters and kilometers to millimeters. Let's look at gram, and gram is a measure of weight. So let's use a different color. So I'm going to go from kilogram to gram. So I'm going to start up here at kilogram, and I have to count my steps to gram. So I have 1, 2, 3. So if I have 3 grams, I have to move that decimal place 3 spots, and the decimal point's after the 3, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and I'm actually just going to put a comma there, so I have 3, well, maybe 3,000 grams. Okay, that's how we do that conversion. And let's look at our very last conversion, which is in liters, which is capacity. So I have 4 liters, and that's where my normal unit is. And I'm going to go to milliliters, so I need to count my steps. So I'm going to go liters to decimeters, to deciliters, to centiliters, to milliliters. So I went 1, 2, 3 steps. So I'm going to go over 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to have 4,000. Oh, not a very good 0. 4,000 milliliters. So we're going to use this chart to help with our conversions. And I will give you a chart like this to put in your notes. So if you'd like to save a spot in your notes, please do so. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in class. But otherwise,